tradition never go my hand from Hani, and I'm not be answered. Now the end of it, it's in already. A bed, land. On the 27th of February 1986, of a letter from Office of the Provisional National Defense Council, written by Agyemang, PNDC member, and the chairman, Ashanti North Chieftaincy Affairs Committee, pleaded to move the then Ashanti Otumfuo the second. But to graciously and in the spirit of magnanimity, consider the allegations and inclusion in the Dormaahene House of Chief. The following Tanosubri area towns which Agyemang contested with and lost without reason to their traditional allegiances to the Golden to equally accept those recommended by the whole House of Chief or inclusion in the House of Chief or the Chiefs for purpose of equitable representations of the region as a whole, as well as for peace, the region as a whole, as well as for peace and unity of the two regions without any issue to the traditional allegiances of them, that whole allegiance to go to. It's important in Osequanchuma in Bedu, Udumasi number 1, Sunyani, Zerpa, in Swatre, Papon, in Totroso, that they saw about and the in Kome and Bassa. And Tinose. Otumfuo, the second respondents to the letter from Agyemang on September 29, 1986. For our discussion, I have taken some portions of the letter as I have done in the cases of Agyemang. Okay, I am now, after my two overseas visits from March to mid-June, able to respond to your letter THMI 041 of February 21st, 1986, and to write to the proposal which committee wishes to make to the cabinet. Second, I am glad and deeply appreciate your committee and unequivocal emphasis that your proposal and without prejudice to the traditional allegiances which any of the stools concerned they hold to the golden stool. The answer concerning stool listed in your paragraph H as you emphasize that I shall have no objection to their membership of the Dormaahene Regional House of Chiefs if it is for the reason you stated, namely for purpose of equitable representation as a whole, and it is without prejudice to the traditional allegiances of traditional allegiances any of them may go to the British too. Okay, impossible. Okay, from the above, it is very clear that the whole region belongs to the Agyemang under the presidency of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo the second, as it was confirmed in the case of Republic versus the Agyemang Traditional Council, SPT 22 in 1982, 83, Ghana Law GLR 996 103. Per the judgment, the restoration of the Ashanti Confederacy in 1935 was a restoration of the pre-1874 status of chiefs. This was the reason why the PNDC, through Agyemang, didn't elevate the cestals in the region themselves, but rather sought approval from His Royal Majesty Otumfuo. So here, There's so much time. It's every. Or say, equal accepted for purpose of equitable representations of the region as a whole, as well as for peace and unity of two regions without prejudice to the matrilineal allegiances of them. And then in Kra, or more elevating on any Otumfuo mine, na reason which the more I was saying, Quantuma, Edie, Uncome, Pinim, Waha, and the Jum, yet over town say you no do for the border. Pinim, that you must number one, Isa, Sunyani, Sekwa, Isuatre, Acrosso, Quapon, Totroso, and that dear swapper. When you employ a large Idris Mahama, a court to constitution, a court to another Supreme Court case. And it's a some pro when you are sat alone, or yet a chieftaincy minister for. Now, self probable in Sunyani self pardon probable. Now, I was here a little bit too. Edward Pop moving now. Nano Anna, Idris Mahama Troma. And a woman of Akoma, Otumfuo Kwadwo. Excellent, say Otumfuo Kwadwo. And grow any winner, yeah. Say, I was a key elevator on Nasso so. One day you could send your mamma, nature. And now face so a blue and a half night. Send your Supreme case, dear, and war. To two case and the Chima case. And it's yet the way back down yesterday. So by my opinion. Now yet to me, I'm a sir in Korea would be at me a poor original house of chief. Send your bay a woman equal. No one sweats me representing. Nothing. One woman has to be a town beneath. Now the bread Otumfuo say Minister Dormaahene said, and I'm a control me be a net March and a June. Nesso, it's also walk when you're plenty, whom out the bread, and I'm here. Now, what's the one can't cool woman and fun in Kura, you cool a boom, a half of your woman I make it. Now, could say, and Croby to say. Sekwa. Enkrobi at say Ejebi. Enkrobi to say Nkumi Pinim Bedu Odumase number one. Now Odumase number one but now what is it? Basa Sunyani and she atre Apraso Papon Totroso another dear so. Otumfuo makwan. Na ya got to therefore, no house of chief form. Purpose equalizing them and representing themselves. So to force the tea, the same as Noah, it push Mahama Christ. The woman wa me you are no essay as some of Kaise. Member quite, Namugazati woman, Lord Menya statue of Parables. Lord Mu uncle, a pro regional house of chief. Then yet, oh, my uncle Sam is hardest to be said. Send a bay or more, but then we have a pet. Now, there's one who's watching representing or Mamma. So kind. Mamma will find moon and Gazati one, a young group. Yeah, she said, yes. Mugazati one. Now, woman, and your man is status, woman, uncle, with an house of chief, one also representing. And this is what was there. I think, yes, I got them going for say. Or say that you graciously and in the spirit of magnanimity consider the elevations and inclusions in the Ahafo House of Chief, the following Tanosubli area towns, what Chachman attested, what Chachman contested with you, and lost without villages to their traditional allegiances to the golden stool. And also can schools once. It could be said in Chra. Nwase, Blanam, Fiabodom, Woyen, Kanoso, Tanopwasi, and Subin Solomut. Eti was answered, and Kura and I felt a Talusupuna. Nanatachi Mahene, Eddie Otumfuo, and as a Santino Corps, West African Corps. 1936, no collusion, no Public Council. Our UK no collusion, yeah, just the Golden Idea. Once I will do for my pine, do for Kukware. No, I leave it to Saturn, so no one also may parables. It will 240, as I was saying, in submitting this proposal for your consideration. I wish to observe that my committee is not unaware of the historical phases of the Ahaf situation as well as the strong emotion avoided by the present state of affairs. In the times, in the true spirit of compromises and national unity, my committee will welcome your kind assistance in the early resolutions of situation which has been of much concern to the government. In the sincere hope that the forgotten proposal will be accepted to you. So this was the discussion, and it is right on a letter at the Supreme Court, at the Ghana Constitution, and what chieftaincy. Yeah, you put in like part of chieftaincy active. So, Yohana say, and now we'll be back with me. Ever cast a Sunyani and Sumasatima, a country evolution. But my name says Sunyani on your mind. 1960, country for chair, CPP, the party Chipodi mine, a champ of the 1970s, to Kusiani, could have said. Eti Sunyani, you do go, ya no shake the word Masiasi. Now, what do we have a home at the soup continue? It's on your mind. If you also saw a bra, Sunyani come yourself a chop, so your mind. And one more take committee of a committee national. Second to a privilege, no one more chair, and one your Bafasua. So, we are walk a blue region, and you have of it, if it's very bit. Near one Mako, a blue and a half house of chief. And it's all men are a lot of estate. They're not all dear anymore. Minister and I said, Honorable Bruce Mahama, Sabe PNDC, Rollins than that, or yeah, or my penny. And it's one more consulting for letters. Now, the quality of two for my family liberty tonight is as a Raka Sunyani or social work myself. Letter no Rollins at my added prayer, you go to full or total so say. One was slow to women say, I won't any half by constitutionally right, customary right, historically. And it's almost there to say, one more fine, nobody elevated those towns. Not those towns, 18 call a poor original house of chief. For reason of the mind for 3 reasons. First reason, to equalize. So making me won't be in a body. It's as a wire capital. Secondly, to represent, so I also make me upright at their own. They are just me some for peace and unity. All over there and also can. And you will walk us up with just what you say. I'm elevating. You cross up and elevating here. A year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 20, 24 towns, 24 places. People didn't be able to maybe LBT, maybe Panchama, Ededi, Income, Kinim, Pedu, Otumase number 1, Basa, Sunyani, Serpa, Musiatre. Acrosso, Papong, in Totroso, that Yaswapa. and at the Subulum close to elevating. Aye, Chra Muase Branham Tanobwase William Tanoso Tanobwase and Tanobwase and Subiso. These are the towns who do for and Richie Orleans to gazetted them. So let's move on. Yeah, actually, a very good letter from 1986. 80 Papa better not want it because according to the 1992 Constitution, you know, what you know, so Sunyani, one more year, one also put you people who got us and the command, Parliament, no regional House of Chiefs, and the National House of Chiefs. Emma, National House of Chiefs did to you. Emma, Parliament did to you. It's a big Kuchia from 2010. Say one more Kunya should be a sin. And it's Papa can be very excited. But the problem is, can't this law, yes, a war, nay, very inducted to the Constitution. Can any law at all in 2010 and yet a national law? This is a national law. This is part of the Constitution. That this was made, it was passed based on one customary rights. And I will read it to you. One would be a Sunyani. So when you say Sunyani Otumfuo Otumfuo person to Sunyani because Sunyani is Otumfuo. And there is a lot of documents it will tell you. Now 2010, there was one man called Nana Mr. Brempe. Let me tell you, they're bye. Wait for me a little bit. Younger, 7 December 2010. Younger at the court of offer all this laws. Also 7 December 2010. Accra, December 7. GNA, Mr. Kwame was chairman of the parliamentary committee on subsidiary legislations on one day, observed that the lack of legislations on succession schemes account for most chieftaincy disputes in the country. Or say, he said, as a result, it has been extremely difficult for state institutions to deal with cases in traditional areas where different versions of customary laws on succession existed. Or say, Mr. Prempe was presenting a report for adoption on the declaration of customary laws, legislative instrument L1, on 11th traditional area on the floor of Parliament in Accra. Or say, the L1 will quantify customary law of succession to provide guiding principles to deal with disputes to reduce chieftaincy conflicts in the country. Or say, he said the quantification of customary laws on succession will serve as good sources of information for promotion on cultural heritage. According to you, it would also serve as an academic material for the study of customary law and also as a research resources into a subject to enhance customary laws relating to lines of succession in traditional area in the country. As Mr. Prempe said, only 11 instruments coupling the numerous paramountcies in the country were presented to Parliament. He noted that the committee deemed this instrument as important pieces of legislation and therefore urged government as a matter of urgency to provide funding to the National House of Chiefs to initiate the necessary processes to cover the whole country. You observe that when this was done, chieftaincy conflicts which affected the development of the country would be reduced. Commenting on provisions of the instrument, Mr. Oseprempe said the line of succession to the stool in Sunyani, Atebuku, Kranza, and Pra, traditional area were non rotatory matrilineal. He cited that Drobu stools, which was matrilineal bet, had rotated lines of succession. But in the line of succession, two stools scales in Guam from Gonda, Drobu, Yankee, lower in traditional area where rotatory among the various gates, indicating in the respective instrument. He said, adding, however, the system of inheritance in those areas. So when will be your friend Mr. Oseprempe. Now Mr. Oseprempe Enna a baby by yet a committee said improve tour and soup. And now so many chieftaincy issues are never sadly. It's almost a committee, a committee to share non move resolution, where upon your first one, all bit me find a solution. A bit me legislative. Nama, a lot of chieftaincy issues. A CC, a water invisible. Yet me are resolving perfectly well. Nano Anna Uncle Guru said, one more day legislative recommendations about. Yes, a recommendation. I was a ban a pesica. Nobody pushes a recommendation. Our 1 year old one, a first one, a true successions, Emma Kuna, and I said, Emma traditional areas are and Papa. So you go ahead, yeah, and she never buy, yeah, rabbit. Many in your pride. Or say, Declaration of Customary Law, Sunyani Traditional Council, Instrument 2010. Or say, Establishment Instrument 2010, L1 1972. Okay, or say, whereas the Sunyani Traditional Council, under the provision of Section 51 of the Chieftaincy Act 2008, Act 759, recommended to the National House of Chiefs through the Ahafo House of Chiefs as a modifications of the customary law relating to subsection 2 Sunyani Parliament 2. The name of the stool of the traditional area is Wankoko stool. The seat of the stool shall be at Sunyani. And it is 2010 Sunyani Traditional Council Ekuchi and Yamago Ejina Chieftaincy at 2008 at 759. And the one which is there, F4 Makunya, Akunyano, a fair boy, Nakunyana Tabi Sunyani, and the command traditional National House of Chiefs, Regional House of Chiefs, and Parliament. There I was saying. If you also well as the Dormaahene Regional House by their own initiative submitted to the Regional House of Chiefs have declared that, in their opinion, the customary law relating to succession in Sunyani traditional area needed a declaration. And it is a broad Regional House of Chiefs. So, a bra one was so, and everyone more pet, Eddie Woodman, and the core National House of Chiefs. Echo see National House of Chiefs say. Echo the first Efa Sunyani a traditional I say Sunyani amamre empatable one. And yama a set Efa additive any could see. Yes, Sunyani could get better one more share, Lord Munye, and into say. And well as by anonymous decision conferred by the Article 279B of the 1992 Constitution on the National House of Chiefs to inter-area compile the customary laws and lines of the succession to where proposed to, and in compliance with above mentioned provisions, the following procedures are hereby adopted. And it is and Yama Sunyani traditional area, Ekuchi Sunyani and Yama Sunyani traditional area, no, Ekuchi the Goo and Kratas. And the command National House of Chiefs wɔn ba bɛbɔ so ɔsi a 1 succession 2 where Koko Asiniye Paramount Stew of Sunyani traditional area shall be non-rotatable in the Sunyani traditional area. It was a Yedika. And for Sunyani and Konya Sebo, a Konya friend point for Konya. Yes, said the Warman Kasa, a year traditional area. Was it, say a Konya Beta, a non-rotatable and walk and wine. It's as a woman and wine. You told me, Rossi. On the night of occupants of the Waipoko Paramount Stew, the Queen Mother Star, in consultations with the Abakumahene, the Abakumahema, and the elders of the royal family nominated according to established customary law, pertaining to achieve and present an occupant to succeed the deceased and contained in paragraph 1. It was a story. Wahine Tiso, now Wahine Trap. Wahine Toyano, I was said, Omahima, one name, Abakumahene, any Abakumahima, Atina City Samuswo. Any penny for any one more year, a sea in it, a 2 year for. Eddie Samuswo, no one will eat Nipa. Yes, said the Yana said the Abra, or everything in the D at the Amai. They are tossing me, sir. Or say, at any time that the one Paramount Stew becomes vacant by any reason of applications, instrument, or any other case, succession shall be in the manner specified in paragraph 1 or had made in the establishment customary manner as if vacancy had occurred by them. So it is so much upon your two, and I will not to one. One more party say, you consider as a Pacoluna or Punyanaso. It's here. The funny on the first one we see on Mondays was saying the Queen Mother Star in consultations wrote about my ma. Anything. Sunny as Sunyani Bahima, and name Mr. Agyemang, or who can curse. Or Bahima, and Mary Crow, who say, or you say, and Mary Sunyani Mother before. It's as a Punyani Betova. As I said, one know about him. One name, Abakumahene, Abakumahema, anything sounds. Any penny for any of this year, you always keep the case. Any none, I guess, the same. So, one even your now I say, they could be was saying. Twice to the king, the case, as mentioned in paragraph 2 of the instrument, shot the gas again. Anything, sir, I could never turn pan. I was so about him and the Abakumahema, Abakumahene. Any penny for any addition. Yes, said you want to know me a key make it one. Send one more, a sewer paragraph 2. After gas is so. Some way this year, after gas in the soul. And it's about him and to sort of one who decided what is your Abakumahema and the Abakumahene. And now, the first key makers and a penny for. Yeah, what we are. Sapro Fuwi. And a woman now about consultation, what that's nothing. Eh, yeah, Obahima, when I didn't have a saying, why I didn't have a soul again. When I didn't have a saying, ever 7. It's about my head, and penny for. And eh, said the other, said the brow. A sea in a four. And your penny, say that here, in the power, but next time, the shark or what you. So no attitude one. And now, with me, I would not want to. So I'm near to my only to me, or I my only to me. As I'm now, I probably know to walk ahead of the only to me. If you also saw her was saying, yes, sir. Was it the nomination of the candidate for the Waipoko Stew shall be done 40 days after the stew has become vacant by any cause? Jaconan Tom Paya, Achaya, the Bianine. I was said, yes, I know for a sharp 9. After was saying, the nomination of the candidate for the Waipoko Stew shall be done at a palace of the Queen Mother. Anything Queen Mother will fear. And now, assistant penny for Abakumahema, Abakumahene, elders, any 2 are in a 4, or Bessia. Now, you need power or free some matter. No one will. And you won't know. One mom and the women of consultation. the word I will use is in consultation with Dormaahene and your Dormaahene elders and the kingmakers. So, and the money now through the gas, we pay for gas. Now, baby, I was a really big part, and your body man is here. Yeah, move a few one purpose here, who are buying out. A penny 40, a share in the fall. And now, if I say, a penny for a walk with me, about my and about my man. Oh, now wait, you pay, one castle will obey. One castle will obey, was in consultations. If you also saw, as I say, there's some possible election or selection. Fine. The election or selection of the candidates for the proposed to shall be done by the kingmakers as mentioned in paragraph 2 of this instrument. Or see a person in the poor baby again. And then the poor bets not on us. As I said, yeah, and see a uniform. Papa, or your man before. Many a told me a big clan. Papa, where your man before. This is what it was written. No moon. Sauko Idus Mahama, Lord, Committee Lord, any 2 verses that you might, the Mra, here possible court. Sunyani assassin, the Otumfuo. Sunyani assassin, my say. And your Otumfuo and liberties, according to 1986 documents. Sabrin money and liberties. Sabrin money, liberty, Bassa. Sabrin money, liberty, and probably Sunyani. It's not a Sunyani, and some purpose of Musaya. No, you people, yeah, no, shall work Massimo Papanas.